Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Report: Warriors potential Johnson trade would have had to include JK. Another Brooklyn Nets player could have been shipped to the Warriors as part of their trade for veteran guard Dennis Schroeder, but it likely would have come with a risky cost to acquire both Schroeder and forward Cam Johnson. Golden State almost certainly would have had to surrender former lottery pick Jonathan Kuminga to Brooklyn. NBA insiders Mark Stein and Jake Fizer reported in their latest column Sunday the Nets received interest in Schroeder, Johnson and forward Dorian Finney-Smith and opened exploratory conversations with interested teams, which included the Warriors, who expressed interest in all three players. ESPN Shamson reported last week, but it appears Golden State wasn't ready to pull the plug on the Kuminga experiment quite yet, as the 22-year-old still is trying to solidify a clear role with the team in Year 4. Kuminga has shown glimpses of his NBA potential and ability to step up as Golden State's secondary scorer alongside superstar Steph Curry, a role the team has longed for all season following the departure of franchise icon Klay Thompson last off-season. While Kuminga hasn't been consistent with that particular role, it seems the Warriors will keep their patience alive in hoping he eventually will. It makes more sense for Golden State to give it more time before going to such lengths to see how Kuminga continues to handle the role that the Warriors have gradually been expanding, and b whether saving Kuminga for down the road trade talks can help them land a true all-star caliber sidekick for Stephen Curry after the Warriors' unsuccessful off-season trade pursuits of Paul George and Lauri Markkanen. Stein and Fizer wrote, as we get deeper into the 2024-22 collegiate basketball season, we're going to learn more and more about the 2025 NBA draft class. If the first few weeks of the season are any indication, this year's draft class is set up to be one of the better ones in recent history, especially with how much the 2024 NBA draft class left to be desired. There are hopes that this year's class will more than make up for it, and as we quickly approach the midway point of the NBA season, teams with playoff possibilities are already beginning to separate themselves from the teams with lottery hopes. In summary, we're getting a stronger indication of what the top of the 2025 NBA draft order could end up looking like as we explore our 2025 NBA Mock Draft 2.0. Take a deeper look at what many are expecting to be a game-changing draft class project. Warriors depth chart. After acquiring Dennis Schroeder from the Nets, trade slop season is underway, folks. The Golden State Warriors made a splash on Saturday by acquiring point guard Dennis Schroeder and a second-round pick from the Brooklyn Nets for 3 second-round picks. Schroeder is a splendid addition to a Warriors team that needed an offensive boost badly, but where exactly will Schroeder fit in the lineup? Although he's played well enough this season to be a starting guard in the NBA, I think Schroeder will best serve the Warriors in a sixth-man role. The Warriors starting lineup is still good enough that Schroeder can make a bigger difference in a second unit that desperately needs a point guard who facilitates for others. Here's how I think the lineup will shake out. Just because Schroeder is coming off the bench, that doesn't mean he won't get some time with the starters. Stephen Kerr will undoubtedly experiment with lineups, specifically 2-point guard lineups with Curry and Schroeder, but providing a steady hand for the reserves is a more pressing issue than giving Steph Curry a wingman. Curry is doing just fine with the starting lineup as is, no matter how poorly the rest of the Warriors offense looks. Lindy Waters and Kyle Anderson might not see much action anymore, and I'm curious to see what the addition of Schroeder does to Moody's and PMK's efficiency. Only good things, I'll venture to guess, when young guys have a real point guard setting the table for them. Good things happen. Backup point guard might be the most underrated position in basketball. Just because Schroeder might come off the bench doesn't make him any less valuable to the Warriors. In fact, that's probably where he can be most valuable. Golden State is losing games because of how bad its bench has been playing. Leading that unit. NBA trade rumors. 3 targets Warriors may pursue. After move for Dennis Schroeder, the Golden State Warriors got the rumor mill running on overtime over the weekend as they quickly moved in to make the bold move for Dennis Schroeder. thrower, but even now that they've acquired Schroeder, the early indications are that they're going to continue to be aggressive on the trade market heading into the deadline. In fact, that's probably why they pulled the trigger on this move this early, so they would still have time to explore other offers before the deadline. What that aggression will ultimately look like for the Warriors remains to be seen, however, with still movable contracts on their roster and draft capital at their disposal, there's reason to believe that Golden State may not be done making moves. In fact, let's predict 3 targets the Warriors could explore next. Even after the move for Schroeder, there have been some whispers that the Golden State Warriors were interested in acquiring a starting caliber center that could help take some of the front court pressure off on Draymond Green on a consistent basis. While there could be a plethora of centers the Warriors could target before the NBA trade deadline, I do believe Robert Williams III could be an intriguing option for the team. Rui is prototypically a center that would fit right in with the Warriors. He can get up and down the floor with ease, is a strong defensive force at the rim, and doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective on the offensive end of the floor. RWA has a knack for just fitting in, but if there's one concern with Rui, it's the injuries. Because of that, it could scare their Warriors away from an elo at pursuit of the defensive-minded big man. There's reason to believe that Kuzma could emerge as a potential target for the Golden State Warriors, especially if Golden State decides that they're probably better off trading Jonathan Kuminga before the trade deadline. This is where a veteran scorer like Kuzma could make some sense in finding a return on a fair contract. The Warriors could look to Kuzma as somewhat of a stopgap at the position that could also help this team in their pursuit of winning. Now, as an established, proven offensive player in the front court, Kuzma could be everything the team is looking for without the headache of what could await the team during the off-season on the Kuminga front. If the writing is on the wall for Kuminga walking in free agency, Kuzma could easily emerge as a strong option for the Warrior. At last, we have Jimmy Butler. Even though the Warriors did already make the move for Dennis Schroeder, I'm not sure that would eliminate them from the Jimmy sweep stakes. It does make a potential trade of Jimmy a bit more complicated, considering they would likely now need the help of a third or fourth team to make the money work, but that's not a huge problem if the team truly wants to make a move for an all-star player. The Warriors' interest in Jimmy has been long reported, and I have a hard time believing that's going to change anytime soon. Whether the Heat actually moves forward to trade Jimmy is an entirely different question. However, if Jimmy does end up getting traded, all signs continue to point to the Warriors. If Golden State believes that Jimmy could be the final piece of their championship puzzle, this is certainly a move to keep a close eye on. The Warriors are likely going to continue to push for an additional move or two ahead of the NBA trade deadline. It's difficult to confidently say if they will accomplish their goal or not. However, the Warriors are still very much in the market to continue to improve their roster. The move for Schroeder wasn't likely their only move before the trade deadline. And you fan, what do you think of the situation of Robert Williams? Leave your opinion in the comments.